Welcome to London Noun. This fascinating episode comes from Holborn and Wembley. Today, we're exploring London's wrestling scene. We're delving deep into the sport's past, present, and the diverse wrestling styles that continue to leave a mark on this historic city. With the roar of the crowd, you feel the intensity in the air. We're in Wembley Stadium for all elite wrestling. Over 81,000 tickets were sold for this event, with fans travelling from 70 countries. It has been an amazing day here in Wembley. But I'm keen to find out about the history of the sport and the other forms of wrestling that Londoners today actually practice. Let's take a trip to the British Museum to learn about the historical roots of wrestling.
Hi, my name is Filippo. I'm a history student here in London, and I'm here today to present, in essence, the origins of wrestling and their importance historically. So, when we think of historical wrestling, obviously Greece comes to mind with all the Olympic Games. They weren't the first. I think we can see this evidently with the Egyptians, even though this portrays specifically children playing games. Wrestling began as that, as children just tussling about, and eventually took on a military notion, whereas in the Egyptians, when they trained for war, they trained with sticks, they trained with swords and shields, and they trained in wrestling. And you see this in these reliefs, here specifically with one man on the floor being held down by another standing up. It's still a move that we actively use in wrestling nowadays. So the legacy of very popular sports that we have today, such as mixed martial arts specifically, is actually a lot older than you think. There was a specific sport in the Greek Olympics called pankration, which means in Greek all powers, pan-kratos. In essence, it's basically what MMA nowadays is. It's the use of everything: punches, knees, kicks, elbows, grappling as well, takedowns, chokes. These gloves, while used for boxing as well, they were used for pankration, which was, in the Olympics you had three different martial arts. You had boxing, which used, as you can see here. You had regular wrestling, which was no strikes, open-fisted, where you just try and put your opponent to the ground. And you had pankration, which was obviously the amalgam of both to try and defeat your opponent.
Hidden away a stone's throw from the British Museum is Prometheus Combat, an Olympic wrestling school in London. It is a hub of dedication and resilience. But why do some Londoners practice wrestling?
I've been a trainer for about, good question, 4 or 5 years. I'm actually quite a new addition to wrestling as well. I started quite late in my life. I was about 25, so I've been doing wrestling for 8 years. I was just really, really keen, and I became a trainer more out of chance, really, that's the club that I was at the time. The wrestling coach wasn't really interested and they left, and I was very keen on wrestling, so I kind of took on the helm. So a typical basics class, at least, I'm the basics coach here, looks like the following. There is always a warm-up for about 10 minutes, then we do acrobatics, which is a very important component of wrestling because it's a very demanding sport, so acrobatics helps get your body in shape and also warm up. Then we typically do a little bit of drilling, so we do different positions or techniques, and then we apply it by doing some positional sparring with a little bit of cool down or yoga at the end to help with recovery. The reason why people should choose Prometheus is because, well, I think we're the best club. I might be biased a little bit. Not only do we just have I personally have a very different approach from most wrestling coaches, particularly because we're an adults club. Wrestling is often not really seen as an accessible sport for people who have never done maybe sports at all or maybe never wrestling. And I really don't agree with that view. I'm not here to necessarily build the next world champions, but wrestling can also be something that people do because they want to be fit, or they want a community, or they want to do something fun. And I take that approach into my class, and you won't find a lot of that anywhere else. I'm very patient, and I really want to support everyone to be able to access wrestling and to do this sport.
So I've done grappling or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for I started when I was 16, I've had some breaks, so probably about 10 years. I found out about Prometheus from just chatting to teammates. It's very difficult to do wrestling in the UK, or it was very difficult to do wrestling in the UK, and Prometheus is right near my office. It's perfect, right in the centre of London. So I've been here for about a year and a half now. Well, we've got 4 coaches now, Joe, Joanne, Brigitte and Amir. All of them help me in different ways. They've all got different specialities. So yeah, they all have different expertise. Each of them is great to learn from in their own way. I'll answer that sort of combat sports in general, really, but I've really done combat sports for my entire adult life, and you're much more comfortable around people because there's no longer any kind of physical intimidation. You're just very relaxed. You're very comfortable in yourself. It's also an extremely good sport for general athleticism. Obviously, you get lots of physical advantages from doing it as well. You'll notice that most people who do wrestling look quite fit, which is always appreciated when you do sports. But generally, I feel it's made me much more confident as a person, much more comfortable within myself. And you get loads and loads of friends from doing the sport. Some of my best friends all over the country and in many other countries I've met from doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling.
Whether you're a seasoned fan or a newcomer, London's wrestling scene caters to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed celebrating the spirit of wrestling, where dedication meets athleticism, mentors inspire resilience, and the past converges with the present in a glorious showdown of strength and passion. Now let's focus on some vocabulary related to wrestling and sport. Keen, really interested and excited. Dedication, working hard and making a strong effort. Resilience, bouncing back from hard times. Expertise, being highly skilled. Mentor, a helpful and experienced guide. Inspirational, making others feel motivated and positive. Let's practice the pronunciation. Listen and repeat. Keen. Dedication. Resilience. Expertise. Mentor. Inspirational.